All right, it's the Golf Kingdom, and you know what? It's time to build. We've got a great show for you tonight to help your game. Let's check out what's happening on the Golf Kingdom. I'm gonna pull in our show right here. We start right off with a Buildeth segment. I'm gonna build you a better finish to your swing. I'm gonna follow it up with our pop culture, and we're going Star Wars. It's the ObiWan drill to help your short game. After that, it's just hot air. I'm gonna help you understand what the hips do in the golf swing. Then we make a visit to the Caddyshack, and none other than Mr. Bob Vokey is our guest tonight. On the bottom side of the show, we're going fitness to help your game, and then tying it all in with Kingdom Crowns and a time to rise. Are you ready? It's time to build on the Golf Kingdom.
The Golf Kingdom, brought to you by Essentia Insurance, TaylorMade, and Executive Air Conditioning.
Welcome to the Golf Kingdom. I'm excited to have you here. It's our Build It segment. It's time where I help you build an important part of your game. And if I'm building, I got my tool belt, I got everything in the belt, but I need the hard hat. Let's get the hard hat on and get to building. Now, this isn't all skate tonight because I'm going to give you something to help your game, and I want everybody involved. So get off your couch. This is something to help you finish the golf swing. Now, when I'm giving a lesson at my academy and I look across at other players warming up, boy, I see a lot of bad finishes. Let me explain what that is. Daredevil, give me the wide shot here. So here's what I see. I see people swinging the club and they finish flat-footed leaning back. Well, that's not finish the swing. A finish the swing is we finish facing the target, my belt buckle's facing the target, my shoulders are facing the target, I'm up on this back foot. I've heard it said, when you're done, look to see if you can see bubble gum on your back shoe. That's a finish. Now here's one thing I want you to do to see if this segment is for you. Take your cell phone, have a buddy video you, and watch your finish. See if you get to this nice finish up on your back foot facing your target. If not, I've got a drill to help you. So here's what we want to work on to help our finish. What I want you to do is grab a club, and I've got my handy grip here to help me. I don't need a full club to demonstrate this finish swing. So what I want you to do to practice finishing the swing is grab a club and go to your finish position and hold it. So get to the position you want to be. Go all the way around, facing your target, get up on this leg, get balanced. What you're going to do from here is you're going to swing back all the way and swing through and finish. And you're going to practice getting to that spot every time. Because here's what happens. When you hold your finish in this position, you have more weight on your right leg than your left, or maybe you're 50-50. This leg's got to learn to grab you and hold you when you're finished, because the finished position is just a one-leg stand. If you're holding speed and power out of this leg, it's going to struggle to hold you. So what you want to do is, when you swing through, realize, as I swing through, my glute, my quad, my calf, all the little muscles of my feet, they're grabbing and holding me in place. I want to practice getting there and being comfortable doing that. So get up with me off your couches, everybody. Here we go. You're going to pretend like you got a club. I got a pretend club here. I got my grip. So you're going to set up. You're going to turn to your finish and hold yourself right here. Boom, I got it right here. Now I'm going to swing into my backswing, swing through, and try to get back there and hold your finish. If you can do that, you will build a better finish to your golf swing. So it's the Build It segment, and I'm building you a better finish. This will help you feel better after a round of golf too. Because if you're finishing like this, boy, I tell you, that hurts my back just demonstrating that. If you wake up the morning after playing golf and you get out of bed and you're walking around like this, chances are you've got a bad finish. Get to this finish right here, and you'll tell you what, you'll feel better after a round of golf, and you'll hit better shots. Now, let's kind of shift gears here. Pop culture tonight. We're going to talk about something to help your short game, and tonight's theme is Star Wars. So I don't need my tool belt, don't need my hard hat. Let's put those out of the way here. I'm going to grab a club I'd normally chip with. I'm going to grab my pitching wedge here. Here's what I see in short game that everybody struggles with, and it's setup. Now, I want a show of hands out there of those of you that actually have had a short game lesson, an hour short game lesson. Raise your hands. Yeah, not many hands are going up. I know it because I see it at the academy. I have lots of players that want a short game lesson, and we walk over to the practice green, and there's golf balls everywhere. Well, wait a second. There's a flag here and a flag here. Shouldn't all the golf balls be right around those two flags, clustered right there, not scattered across the green and not across into the rough and in the woods? Well, that's because you haven't had a short game lesson and you haven't learned how to set up properly. And this is where the ObiWan drill is going to help you a bunch. Now, here's everything everybody knows about short game. And those of you who didn't raise your hand, this is exactly what you know about short game. I've got my pitching wedge. If I set up to hit a full shot, my pitching wedge setup looks like this. I'm tilted in here, the shoulders down, my hands are forward, my stance is wide. But wait a second, you've watched people chip and you know the tour players, we chip with our feet close together. So you take your normal setup and you just move your feet close together and you look like this. You're tilted in here, right shoulder down, left shoulder up, left arm really firm and strong. Now watch me. I'm going to move into the correct chipping position from here. Look at the changes going on. My hips level out, my shoulders level out. Look at my left arm, my lead arm. It's not bent. It's not straight, it's bent is what I meant to say. I want this relaxed. Here's the ObiWan drill to help you. Now, if you've seen Star Wars, you know Obi-Wan gets killed by Darth Vader. And he raises his lightsaber and Darth Vader whacks him and all of a sudden he disappears. That's a whole nother story. We won't get into that. But the ObiWan drill will help you get that set up. So here's what you do. You take the club, you raise it into the ObiWan position right in front of you. If you have a hat or visor on, touch it to the bill of your cap. Now from here, you're going to lean your weight onto your front leg a little bit, and then you're going to bend about 45 degrees. And then in this position, you're just going to unfold your elbows till the club touches the ground, and then put your feet close together. It'll keep your hips more level, it'll keep your shoulders level, and it'll keep a little flex in the lead arm. So from the side, the ObiWan drill looks like this. I touch it to the bill of my cap, I lean on my front foot, I bend a little, I unfold my arms, I don't straighten them, I don't get tense, I stay relaxed. That's what you want to do. The ObiWan drill. We went Star Wars tonight to help your game. Remember, setup. We want to be relaxed here. Chipping's a relaxed thing. We don't want to be stiff. Feet close together, hips and shoulders level. Now the club can move more up and down, and you can brush the grass and hit nice, crisp chip shots. Star Wars. Who knew that Obi-Wan Kenobi could make you a Jedi Master around the green? Practice that drill, and I bet you hit a lot more chip shots and save a lot more pars. It's time for It's Just Hot Air, brought to you by my buddies at Executive Air. This is where we talk about the myths and misconceptions of golf. And one I hear all the time is, when you swing the club, keep your hips still. Don't turn your hips coming back. Restrict your hip turn. Daredevil, let's go to the wide shot so everybody can see this. I have lots of players that come to me that don't move their hips. I had a guy the other day complaining he doesn't hit the ball far enough, and his backswing looked like this. His hips never moved, his left knee never moved in. I'll tell you what, I did. I told him, let's get the hips turning. I said, pretend like you've got a Texas State Fair first place belt buckle on and get this belt buckle turning back to me. So once again, watch what happens. If I don't move my hips, here's my backswing. I can't go anywhere. That's as far back as my body will let me move the club. I need hip turn to get my body back, to get the club back, to get what? Get more power. That's what we want. We want power in our swing. We want to hit the ball a long way. We want to bomb that driver. Hip turn. So feel like you get the belt buckle turned back. Feel like someone's grabbing you by the right pocket, the back hip pocket, and pulling you back. So it'll look like this. So when I swing back, man, I get lots of hip turn. Look, I can get the club back. It gets way, way back there. Get more hip turn. Don't restrict your hips. Let the left knee work inward, and you'll get the club back, and you'll find that power you've been looking for. This has been It's Just Hot Air, brought to you by my buddies at Executive Air. Get with them, and they'll help you stay cool during the coming summer months.
You want a golf tip that will really make this game easier? Okay, here's mine. The fastest way to get good is by finding a great coach. And the fastest way to find that person is through golfchannelacademy.com. It'll match you up with the best coaches in your area.
And now you can even schedule a new student assessment.
So, what are you waiting for?
Schedule a training session with your local coach, Rob Strano from Strano Golf Academy in Destin, Florida at stranogolf.com.
Our Caddyshack picture has a great presence here in our set, but you know what we've got? We've got a caddy from the PGA Tour that's going to join our Caddyshack to help you build your game. My buddy Kevin Barron is a caddy on the PGA Tour. Hey Kevin, how you doing today?
Hi Rob, great to be here on Golf Kingdom.
We're excited to have you on the Golf Kingdom. Tell us, what are some building blocks you see in Pro-Ams that can help our players here in the Golf Kingdom?
As a caddy out on the PGA Tour for the last 2 seasons, worked for Brian Davis last year. Brian's a really methodical player, and I notice in Pro-Ams you have a lot of amateurs that will just get a number 150 yards, they'll go right over the bag, they'll pull out a 7-iron, they'll hit the shot without taking all these things into account. If it's a morning Pro-Am round, you could have a little moisture in the air. Wind might be a different direction versus the afternoon. Take into account what your environment is giving to you. Are you in the middle of fairway? You're in the intermediate rough? Or are you in thick and heavy rough? And also the sand too. Has it been real dry in the area? Is the sand nice and fluffy, or is it kind of thick and wet? As a caddy, we've got all these tools to help us out, from yardage books that tells us where we need to go, to based on what the weather conditions are doing. I set the bag down, I go through my routine. As amateurs, you can do that too, and it's going to help you play better golf.
Kevin, those are some great things that players need to think about to pick the right club and play the right shot. Thanks.
Thanks again, Rob. Look forward to seeing you guys next time.
Awesome. Kevin Barron, PGA Tour caddy. He shared some great things to help you with your game. Now, I've got a guest who's going to share some great things for you here at the Golf Kingdom. Our PGA Tour caddy gave you guys a great list of things to consider before you play every shot here in the Caddyshack. Now, it's time for our guest, and we've got someone super duper for you tonight here at the Golf Kingdom. I am so excited to welcome into the Golf Kingdom a longtime good friend of mine, Mr. Bob Vokey, wedge designer extraordinaire. Bob, great to have you here on the Golf Kingdom.
Great to see you again. So it's how many years has it been?
It's been 30 years at least we've known each other, going way back to my days as a player and your early days as a designer.
That's right.
So tell everybody a little something about you that they don't know, which is interesting. You're a Canadian guy.
Yes.
Went to Carlsbad.
Yes, I was born in Montreal. I came to California in 1966.
66. And then in 76, you started Bob's Custom Clubs in San Diego. Tell us about Bob's Custom Golf Clubs in San Diego.
Actually, it was a golf shop that I started. It was, and I can tell you right now, those days I had about a 1,100 square foot shop, and I guarantee there was times where I'm very thankful, and I bless the Lord right now that I used to sleep in a sleeping bag in my shop sometimes. Wow. Just to pay the rent, and I was driving a 295,000 mile Datsun B210.
Oh my gosh. And look how good you look now. Holy smokes. I look terrible dressed next to you.
And then in the later 70s, this is how it all started. I used to do a little bit of repair work. TaylorMade at that time we're moving out to the West Coast. But anyway, just before that, Gary Adams came into my shop at one time with a fella who Gordy Severson, pro at Palma Valley, of course in Northern California, North County, and he went to left and he went to work for Gary, the Western Regional Sales Manager. Come into my shop, and he said, "This Gary Adams introduced me to him, and he had a box of metal woods, I called them, wow, with shafts and grips. He says, 'Can you put these together for me?' I said, 'Mr. Adams,' I said, 'I don't know, but these are driving range clubs.
Oh
They're never going to sell. To me, they look like driving. I never seen a metal wood, but also put them together. So how's that?' Then a couple of years later, that was probably in 1979, and then a couple of years later, I went to work for Gary at TaylorMade.
That's an amazing story, and that's how we equate those metal woods. Was you saw those clunky things that were all beat up at a driving range.
That's what I thought. They're driving range clubs. They'll never ever.
Now, that's a great perception of the early metalwoods, those driving range clubs. So you and Gary start TaylorMade, the first metalwoods, and we were all playing persimmon, which we searched long and hard to find the perfect persimmon driver. Do you have a story from those early years with TaylorMade trying to get a tour player to switch from persimmon to metal that was a good one?
Oh, yes. You know, it's funny. I when I try to get him, of course, what happened, the funny part about it, I never had to talk too much, because I remember the story. It's Ronnie Streck. He was telling me the story, that same sort of thing, what happened to him at Lakewood Country. And he got this metalwood from Gary in a parking lot, the early days. There goes this guy. Next, he robs out there about 250, 260, hits it, metalwood, rolls her right between Lon Hinkle's legs. And Hinky looks down like that and said, "There's no way." You know?
He said he's waving at him.
And that's it. And that's how it sort of how it all started. One player tells another player. Next thing, Metalwoods took off like you can't believe.
That's
It
amazing.
didn't take much to talk about of Persimmons.
That
It took care of itself. It was
that's
unbelievable.
amazing thing. And now, you know, as you're bigger than life here behind us, you know, Metalwoods are bigger than life. And from TaylorMade, you had an interesting transition between TaylorMade and Titleist, where you went to a new startup that Gary began after he sold TaylorMade called Founders Club, which is where you and I met and made some great clubs there.
Oh boy, it was awesome. When I went there, and I didn't specialize in wedges at the time. I just went there. I was a metalwood guy, and I love metal. And I had the relationships with the tour players from my TaylorMade days. So we made these metalwoods, and it helped me to go on with. And I remember when Harry Taylor was one of the ones that hired me. And Harry, we used to go out on the tour. Harry played tour at the time. We went out and got the players to hit these Founders Club. And we were at Founders Club. We became the #2 metalwood on tour within 6 months, right behind TaylorMade. And I used to say to myself, "That's great." But Gary, you'd say to me, "Boke, it's not bad being #2. It doesn't cost us to be advertised, because every time #1 advertises metalwood, you see #2."
Exactly. Now, in building equipment, you had a great influence. Your dad was a tool and die maker in Canada. What was something you took from your dad that's helped you build clubs?
I think is probably maybe his work ethic, because he used to go in on Saturdays, and he would bring me, when I was later grade school and high school, in on Saturdays with him Sundays, and even on my summer vacation, I went to, and I wanted to become a machinist. I didn't want to go to school. I did not like school. When I went to school, I took up space. I think that's what about it. That's it. So I turned around and my dad would always he gave me the dirtiest jobs in a machine shop. And what I did, I was sweeping the floors, and I could not wait to get back to school come September. And I look back now, that's what my dad was teaching me. He was teaching me that, no, you don't want to be a machinist. You can do better than that. And there's nothing wrong with being a machinist, but he says, that's not what I want you to do.
And you learned that great work ethic from your dad.
From my dad, and also when I learned all about measuring. I learned about machines. I learned how to use my hands. And what if I said anything that created what came for, I was very good with my hands. And I didn't know. It was just I learned a lot after my dad. But when it came to grinding, it just was one of those things that I was very fortunate that these knew what I wanted. You know, I can't explain it, Rob. I'd get behind it, I'd do a grind. I didn't really have anything in mind, but all of a sudden, boom, I'd grind it, do a little, because I've done a little work with Dave Stockton Sr., Lanny Watkins, Mark O'Meara, Lee Trevino, Sevi, all those good wedge players. I would pop this wedge with a grind on it that I got from other players, and I would take it out on tour. And that's how it basically started. Did a little at Founders Club, but when I left Founders Club, Terry McCabe called me and he asked me, "You want to come over to Titleist? I'm working on a little project called the Driver," and it was the 975D Driver. That was my first project with Titleist. A lot of people don't know that. I came over.
I knew that one.
I came over as a driver guy. So it turned around, and all of a sudden, I knew that Terry said, "What do you want me to do?" I said, "Well, Mr. Uline wants to get into wedges." So I said, "Doggone!" I said, "This is me." I said, "I love wedges."
For more with our guest, Bob Vokey, jump over to our Facebook page, The Golf Kingdom TV. You can see the halfway house and more interviews with Bob there. Now stay tuned for some other great stuff here at the Golf Kingdom. Alexa, open Golf Kingdom.
Welcome to Golf Kingdom. Here's your golf tip of the day.
Welcome to the Golf Kingdom. I am your host, Rob Strano, and here is today's Pro Pointer.
Alexa, stop. If you want more pro pointers from me via your Amazon-enabled skill at the Golf Kingdom, be sure to go there and enable it. Every day I give you a new tip free with your Amazon-enabled device. So enable the Golf Kingdom and you'll get a tip For me, your host, Rob Strano, every day. Welcome back to the Golf Kingdom. Thanks for joining us tonight. And it's time for another Build It segment. And tonight, I'm going to help you build a better putting stroke, and specifically, a more accurate putting stroke. I'm going to tell you a little story about what I had to do as a kid growing up in St. Louis before I was a tour player. Now, we get those snowy days in St. Louis, or maybe those days where I had some homework and I couldn't get to the golf course to practice. Now, my dad and I would have putting contests in the house, and we would putt to the legs of tables and chairs, really tiny targets. It would make a putting cup look really, really big. Then when I got to the golf course to play, boy, I had this small target I was used to putting at, and the cup looked gigantic. I've got my Paul Bunyan drill to help you build a more accurate putting stroke. Now let me build here. I got to grab the hard hat, so I'm safe here as we're building the Paul Bunyan drill. Here's how the Paul Bunyan drill works. And Daredevil, I want to go to the low shot here. Take us down low. You can see I've got 3 different kinds of batteries here. I've got a C battery, in the middle is the AA, and on the end is the very, very skinny AAA battery. What you're going to do at home is you're going to get a club length away with a golf ball from the C battery. So let's start bigger. Let's start with C and get a couple golf balls. And what you want to do, like Paul Bunyan, is you want to start chopping these batteries down. So here we go, C battery, boom, got it on the first try. When I can consistently hit the C battery, then I'm going to switch over. I'm going to switch over to the AA battery. Boy, that looks pretty small as I look down at it. A club length away is where I want to be. I'm going to get set up. I want to really try to aim this good. I'm going to try to mow down the AA battery. Bang, right in the middle. So I got the AA battery. It's down. Okay, now for the super duper challenge. I'm going AAA battery. That looks like a toothpick stuck in the ground here. I got to readjust my hard hat here. So I'm ready to build, ready to get it right. I'm going to aim it good. I'm going to get set up. I'm looking at that AAA battery. It looks tiny. See if I can mow it down on the first try. Got it. Boom. Tell you what, if you can hit that AAA battery, you can make any putt anywhere. This will tighten down how you aim the putter. It'll give you an incredible amount of confidence to get set up and know that you can hit something as tiny as a AAA battery. And the great thing is, you can do this at home. You don't have to be at the golf course. The challenge right now in our busy world is trying to get time to practice on our game. The Paul Bunyan drill, it's a great drill to help you continue to build your game. Practice it at home and go make more putts on the golf course. It's time for fitness here at the Golf Kingdom, and I've got my girl Leanne from PT Solutions to help us. Hey Leanne.
Hey guys, it's a pleasure to see you back on the Golf Kingdom.
Last time you gave us some awesome stuff to help our games, and I know you've got something great tonight to help everyone out there watching. What do you got for us?
Hey everyone, so I grew up in South Africa and I played college tennis. And for both golf and tennis, thoracic rotation is a really big deal. And why it is so important is to get some power behind your swing. And so what I want you guys to do is put this golf club behind your back, and you can do this drill before your round of golf or at home. And I want you to work on some good rotation through your thoracic and lumbar spine. If you do have low back pain, be a little more cautious because this is a lot of rotation. This will also provide a really good stretch to your shoulders, working into external rotation. So make sure you guys do this at home to get some good rotation and some power behind that swing.
That's great stuff, Leanne. It gives the players rotational power and flexibility. Thanks a bunch.
See you again soon on the Golf Kingdom.
Great stuff there from PT Solutions. Be sure you check them out online or go visit them at Orthopedic Associates in Destin, Florida. It's time for us to give our Kingdom Crowns here on the Golf Kingdom. The Kingdom Crowns are for players that have done some really great stuff in the golf course. And tonight, we're going to honor one of my players, LPGA player Laura Jansone from Latvia. Now, in the past 2 tournaments out on tour, she's had 2 top 3s. So she gets a Kingdom Crown. If you know someone out there that's done something great on the golf course, go over to Twitter and hashtag Kingdom Crown and nominate them. And we maybe will feature them here on the Golf Kingdom, just like Laura out on tour. Now, let's talk about my favorite segment. It's time to rise. I'm going to share with you something really, really important, not necessarily for golf, but also for life. I'm going to ask you a question tonight. What do the names Desmond Doss and PGA Tour player Jim Furyk have in common? Think about that for a second. Now I'm going to help you out. So Jim Furyk, and here's Jim Furyk's distinctive golf swing. I happened to play behind Jim in his first professional tournament. And standing there with the players, they were all like, check out this guy's golf swing. To me, it kind of looked pretty good. And I tell you what, he hit it pretty good and scored pretty well. And has had a great career on the PGA Tour. But everybody else kind of looked at that funky swing and said, who's this guy? Desmond Doss. Does that name kind of ring a bell? How about the movie Hacksaw Ridge? He was the Congressional Medal of Honor winner from the Battle of Okinawa and Hacksaw Ridge, where he saved 75 lives. And he was kind of overlooked. Both these guys were both judged by kind of how they looked or by, what they did. You can never judge a book by its cover. And they judged Jim Furyk and Desmond Doss by their covers. Desmond Doss didn't want to carry a firearm, but you know what? When it came time for him to save the lives of his guys, he was there as the Army medic who saved 75 guys. So my challenge for you is this. It's time to rise. Get out there and be a leader. Don't judge a book by its cover. Find someone who's being judged and lift them up. Help them to be great. Now, what I want you to do is jump out to social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We've got some great stuff for you there. Thanks for watching us on the Golf Kingdom. And remember, it's always time to build.
The Golf Kingdom, brought to you by Essentia Insurance, tailor-made, and executive air conditioning.